We're living in this moment of just extreme media saturation. I mean, look around you, scroll through any feed, walk down the street, you were just bombarded.
It's everywhere.
The noise floor is higher than it has ever been. And the competition for your attention isn't just fierce, it's almost existential.
It absolutely is. Every single channel, every public space, every personal device is now a crowded venue for commercial messages. It's so difficult for any one message to, register above all that clutter.
Right.
But the core argument from our sources today isn't that advertising has died. It's that it has radically regenerated. It's been transformed.
And that's the key shift we're tracking. Advertising has moved beyond just grabbing attention. The goal is now so much higher.
Oh, way higher.
These campaigns, they seek to get customers to actually revere the icons they create. We've poured over, 5 dozen unique approaches?
At least.
So we've tried to isolate the ones that were either the first of their kind or just the most renowned for really, truly breaking through.
And to start unpacking this transformation, we have to look at the old powerhouses first. Traditional mass media. I'm talking about scheduled television.
Which has really struggled.
It has, because those shared mass viewing moments, the big guaranteed audience, they're just increasingly rare. And when you lose that, advertisers are forced to look outside the usual broadcast frames.
Okay, so let's unpack how these traditional formats had to adapt. A great, really early example of this comes from the UK. 2003.
The Ford Mondeo interactive commercial.
Exactly. This was effectively the first interactive TV commercial in Europe using that digital satellite technology.
What the agency did was brilliant. They recognized they could use the power of a mass reach medium, I think it was primetime TV on Sky One, but then immediately invite you to step off the schedule.
Into a dedicated experience.
Precisely. They made the ad itself a doorway. You just pressed the red button on your remote and boom, you were instantly on a digital microsite.
Or you could request a catalog, schedule a test drive, all of that.
And the data shows exactly why this was a game changer. For Ford, this created a self-selecting, highly motivated group of prospects. The campaign got, 357,000 interactions?
Which is huge. But it's the cost that's staggering.
Yes. The cost of acquisition was estimated at just 6 pence per 30 seconds of each prospect's engaged time.
6 pence. I mean, that calculation just blows the old model out of the water. It's so much lower than a traditional spot that hits millions of people who just don't care.
It turns the ad from just a branding exercise into a precise, low-cost lead generation tool.
From passive to active.
Exactly. And we saw this in print media, too, with these sort of guerrilla tactics. Think about the Mattel 100% Hot Wheels campaign. That one targeted real classic car fanatics.
That's the one where they used Auto Trader USA, right?
Yes. They placed these small, authentic-looking classified ads for 118 scale miniature cars right next to the ads for the real full-size $1 million versions.
That is so clever. It's like a brilliant little test of how closely you're paying attention.
It really is. The ad looked perfectly real until you saw the tiny price tag or the website. It just blurred the line between the reality of buying a classic and the fantasy of collecting a perfect miniature.
Okay, so moving from niche print to mass presence, we see program sponsorship, like Cadbury's sponsorship of Coronation Street in the UK, starting way back in 1996.
And this wasn't just a banner ad. This was about deep integration using idents or buffers.
Those little short sequences that frame the ad breaks.
Right. It was all about guaranteed continuous connection. By sponsoring the entire show, Cadbury was guaranteed the last and first word in every single ad break. They essentially buffered the entire experience.
And they were targeting the show's massive dedicated audience, the C1, C2, D, and E socioeconomic groups?
The skilled working class and non-skilled demographics, yeah, a huge base. They took a product like chocolate, a high-volume, frequent purchase, and just intertwined it with a deeply habitual daily viewing pleasure.
It's pure association. Cadbury becomes linked with that moment of relaxation, that routine. It proved that even short bursts, if they're constant, can still be incredibly effective.
And speaking of continuous presence, let's pivot to the digital age. This is where the lines between ads and entertainment just completely dissolve.
Digital isn't just another channel anymore.
Yeah.
It's the glue.
Yeah.
It links that initial awareness to the actual experience of consumption.
We have to define two concepts here that really show this blend: advergaming and advertainment.
Okay.
So advergaming is where you discover the ad through play. The game itself teaches you about the product. Evertainment is where the commercial message is wrapped in interactive entertainment, and the goal is just to create cultural buzz.
Well, the ultimate benchmark for advertainment has to be the Burger King Subservient Chicken, 2004.
Oh, absolutely.
A deliberately cheap-looking website, an actor in a chicken suit. And he responds to typed commands. It was simple and just mesmerizingly bizarre.
A perfect storm of simplicity and strangeness. The actor had over 300 pre-programmed responses. But what's fascinating is that the campaign relied entirely on organic word-of-mouth activity.
And the numbers are insane. Over 459 million hits in total. How did a silly chicken become this massive viral icon?
The sources point to two things. First, the lack of any corporate gloss. It felt like some weird internet thing you just stumbled upon, not a calculated ad.
Felt authentic in a weird way.
Exactly. And second, the whole concept was just inherently shareable. You weren't just watching a video, you were interacting with this cultural oddity. You had to show it to someone. It became an inside joke that you were responsible for spreading.
It gave the user a sense of power, a sense of discovery. Okay, so on the advergaming side, let's talk about the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon Trial of Life campaign.
Right. This was a digital game, often linked with the Tomb Raider franchise, that let you virtually drive the vehicle over these impossibly rough terrains.
And the key insight here was crucial, wasn't it? It wasn't about racing.
Not at all. It wasn't about speed. The game rewarded exploration and persistence. It was all about showcasing the Jeep's unique features. The traction, the suspension, the clearance through obstacles only a Rubicon could handle.
So the game was basically a product demonstration.
A very detailed one. It turned play into product education. And the conversion rate was remarkable. 1 in every 3 players clicked through from the game to learn more about the actual vehicle.
Wow. Now this is where it gets really interesting for me, the convergence part. Blurring the screen in the real world. Sony Ericsson's 5 Seconds of Fame campaign.
A masterclass in cross-platform synergy. Users shot and sent 5-second video clips with their new phones.
And these clips were then actually broadcast on TV, on MTV Germany.
Yes, on VAV+. So the customer becomes the star, the content creator, and the broadcaster all at once. And in doing so, they're demonstrating the phone's capabilities.
The campaign made customers into co-creators, into brand evangelists.
Exactly. The message shifted from, look how good our phone is, to look what you can do with our phone. It's a fundamental shift in who tells the story.
Okay, so let's move beyond screens entirely. Let's talk about campaigns that transform our physical environment. Ambient stunts, experiential marketing, where the ad becomes an unmissable event.
These campaigns work because they violate your expectations of a space. The FHM magazine Street Projection in 1999 is a classic example of this. Low-cost, high-impact, guerrilla marketing at its best.
Tell us about the sheer cheek of that one.
A promotions agency projected this massive 24-meter-high image of a model, Gail Porter, onto London's Houses of Parliament.
At midnight.
At midnight, with the tagline, "Vote Gail."
That sounds like a legal nightmare, but a PR dream?
Both are true. The stunt was completely unlicensed. The cost was tiny, maybe £3,000 for the equipment. But the juxtaposition, a glamour model on the symbol of British democracy, it was so provocative it generated global news coverage.
Coverage that would have cost millions in paid media.
They bypassed the media entirely by creating a story the news couldn't ignore.
That's the definition of turning an ad into an icon. It goes from paid media to earned media.
Absolutely. Another perfect example, this one, using the environment to show a key product feature, was the Zippo windproof lighter taxis in Singapore.
The moving billboard with the literal flame on top. I remember seeing pictures of that.
Taxis drove around the city with big lit Zippo flame replica on the roof. It was a visual demonstration of the USP. It's windproof.
So they knew it was a loss leader, right?
Oh, completely. It cost around 80,000 Singapore dollars. The goal wasn't direct sales. It was to generate those iconic, slightly surreal images that people would share on blogs and social media.
You wouldn't just see the ad, you'd look out for them, you'd talk about them. It turned the city itself into a conversation starter.
And this kind of ambient advertising can also be used for, significant social good. Look at the first National Bank cooling towers mural in South Africa.
Right, they took those 2 massive derelict Orlando power station cooling towers.
And transform them into this vibrant mural celebrating Soweto life and history.
Turning an industrial eyesore into a landmark.
Precisely. They invested 850,000 rand to rejuvenate this prominent piece of architecture. They used commercial channels not just to sell a service, but to drive community renewal, restore pride. The bank positioned itself as a proactive force for social good, making the ad so much more impactful than just a billboard.
But this whole shift towards ambient platforms where the ad is inescapable, it does raise a strategic question. Our sources noted that ads are moving in places you can't avoid, escalator risers, building ramps.
Right.
If advertisers are always looking for spaces where you can't turn the message off, what stops the constant intrusion?
That's a crucial point. The sources were clear that while taking ads out of the usual frames raises ethical questions, they argue that lack of impact, not legislation, is more likely to halt the growth.
So if people start ignoring the stunts,
The stunts stop being cost-effective, which means advertisers are constantly incentivized to be more and more disruptive, more shocking, just to maintain that edge.
which brings us to the big picture. The dynamic has completely shifted from broadcasting push messages to actively pulling customers in through involvement.
This is the core transformation. Push media, like a TV spot, it disrupts you and shoves an idea at you, and we've all learned to avoid that.
We do tune it out.
But pull techniques, like the red button Ford ad or a game, they have a much higher chance of persuasion because you, the customer, initiated the engagement. Dialogue is now the opportunity.
And often the best advertising today doesn't even look like an ad. I'm thinking of that Marlborough Motel example.
A perfect strategic move. At music festivals in the UK, they built the Marlborough Motel, a VIP backstage space, kind of like a high-style 1950s American lounge.
But the space itself wasn't branded, was it?
Exactly. Almost no fixed sales messages, just packs of Marlboro cigarettes discreetly available. They weren't pitching a product, they were providing a desirable platform for an experience.
Creating an ambiance.
A sense of freedom, coolness, community, an ambiance conducive to what they called the Marlboro moment. They were selling a lifestyle choice by facilitating it without the hard sell of a traditional ad.
So that signals that the line between advertising and marketing has just completely converged. Agencies now create these big ideas that are total communication solutions,
And the role of advertising becomes that of a facilitator.
building the platform.
It's about building the process and the platform that draws you in. The ultimate modern example of this is Nike plus Berry, that collaboration between Apple and Nike.
They didn't just sell shoes.
They created an infrastructure for an ongoing customer relationship. They merged Apple's digital and music know-how with Nike's fitness expertise. They built a seamless digital ecosystem to track, analyze, and share your running data.
Nurturing a whole online community of runners.
And the advertising is the useful tool they give you. The brand becomes synonymous with the best way to practice that hobby.
And that infrastructure relies so heavily on user-generated content, or UGC, which we saw with Sony Ericsson.
Yes. When a platform is successful, consumers are converted into brand advocates. They produce and distribute content. They are effectively doing the advertising for the brand.
Through the most trusted channel there is, peer-to-peer recommendation.
Exactly.
So the ultimate takeaway for you, the learner, is that to succeed in a saturated world, advertising has to involve customers personally. It has to convert the ad into a shared experience, or even a cultural phenomenon. Success today lies in fusing the science of defining these niche markets with the art of creative, unexpected communication.
And this brings us right back to the core challenge we started with, media saturation. While these unconventional approaches, the stunts, the viral videos, the ambient takeovers, while they're succeeding now, our sources noted a crucial limitation. Stunts generally only have one life before they cease to be effective.
You can only be surprised once.
Exactly. So as advertisers constantly pursue new, uncolonized spaces and they continually look to surprise an increasingly ad-conditioned customer, we have to ask, what happens when the audience becomes immune even to the shocking, the experiential, and the deeply personal? That is the next era's strategic puzzle.